germ oil. Now, I'd like to put another one in. And the reason for these are for we who have come into bodies that aren't quite completely equipped through malfunction of our ancestors before. They've left us with certain weaknesses. With many of us, we have a hydrochloric acid problem. And this hydrochloric acid may be over, it may be under. And we aren't too smart in the way of telling just how much. And sometimes we can overdo. The human body being computerized, as I mentioned before, I think we're very fortunate if we just kind of let go and let God. Just turn it loose and help it, give it the things that it needs. And for instance, the average human will take a tablespoon of honey and a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar 3 times a day. Take the honey and apple cider vinegar, mix it in a glass of steam distilled water, and drink it down. The body is so computerized that it will take the amount of the vinegar and honey that it needs, and it will take it to the lower third of the stomach, and there will revitalize that area so that it will start producing hydrochloric acid in the correct amount. Not too much, not too little. Now, the human body will do this. We are so fortunate to have a piece of equipment, a vehicle that will handle these things and do it just the right way. This particular procedure is very simple. If we go down to the store and buy some hydrochloric acid, whether it is to the health store or to the pharmacy, it doesn't matter, and we start using this because we don't have enough hydrochloric acid, we have one little problem. After a period of time, the bottom third of the stomach says, nuts to them. They don't like my hydrochloric acid, they won't work with me. I just shrivel up and forget it. And atrophication sets in, and it won't work anymore. All right, we have too much acid, and so we go down and we buy some Alka-Seltzer or some alkaline conditions of some kind. Well, we take the Tums or whatever we're taking, and the human body gets to a point where it isn't happy because you're doing the job and not letting them supply their own. It would like cooperation, and that's what we're trying to teach, is the use of simple herbal aids that will feed a specific area of the body. And so your honey and your apple cider vinegar, that's your best combination. Now, if you want to break it down, and where will we get our honey? I'll tell you, every man under his own fig tree. It's far better if you can get honey from the area you live by. We oftentimes say a person has hay fever or asthma. Well, if you'll take comb honey and chew a goodly amount during the day, regularly, 6 days a week after week, this condition will clear. But the small print that we have to put under there is providing the honey comes from around your own neighborhood. If you have this condition and you bring your honey in from Hawaii, delicious. But is it the orchid that's your problem, or the rare exotic plants from Hawaii that's your trouble? No, it's your vegetation in your own backyard where the honey is collected in your own backyard, and it's that close.
How wide radius do you think it can go?
Oh, within the state or area, yes, you know. Of course, the closer we get, the better we are. If you have your own bees in your own backyard, wow. Yeah, but this is important here, yes.
Two questions. One, is it necessary to use honey with the vinegar? And the second one is it advisable to give the vinegar if someone has a stomach ulcer? To go ahead and give it even if they have the ulcer?
Oh, yes, if they chew it. if they chew the apple cider vinegar and honey as they're taking it, even the ulceration, but they should have taken their cayenne first, because the cayenne will take care of that. Your vinegar must be apple cider. Now, you can get your malt vinegars and your distilled vinegars in various types, but some of them are actually more harmful than beneficial. But your apple cider, it carries its value right on down. The apple is one of the most powerful of all of our fruits. It's one of the most powerful of all of our foods. The apple has in it more oxygen than any other type of an herb per pound. If you filled this with apple cider vinegar, or take it just apple cider alone, or apple juice. Apple cider and apple juice are an interchangeable. Oftentimes the plant, if they're making apple juice and run out of labels, they put the apple cider label on, and vice versa. It isn't that exacting. We used to call it apple cider when we'd go out with the big old press and make it, and Mom would say, "Sonny, would you go out and bring in a bucket of apple cider?" Huh? All right, that was apple cider right now. So it's a little hard there to tell. But if that were filled with apple juice and you dropped into it the culture of the most dangerous known disease germs to mankind, it would be a live, healthy culture, but by the time it would sink to the bottom, it would be dead. This has so much oxygen in the apple cider, or apple juice, that the culture can't live in it. It's too powerful for it. And that's what we're trying to do, is build powerful bodies by furnishing the right materials. Another thing about this apple juice, or apple cider, it's very potent if you have bad water. Now, supposing you have some low-grade water and it's loaded with germs, you can put a little apple juice in the bottom of the glass and then fill the glass, and it will act just like, well, it'll kill the germs, make them so they're not anxious to stick around. This is an old expression that we oftentimes wonder about. The first of the great miracles that Jesus ever performed was turning water into wine. And in the back of our minds, we oftentimes question, why? Why? Well, it was an essential thing. Oxygen is needed. It is one of our most needed essences or materials on earth, is oxygen. And we get a lot of it from the waters we drink. A lot of it comes from the liquids. But when we are in an area where water is contaminated and it's dangerous to drink, as it was back where Jesus was teaching, people who couldn't afford wine, couldn't afford juices, were forced to drink the water or dehydrate. And what was taught? A little wine is good for the belly. Now that doesn't mean a gallon at a throw. It means a little. And they could take and put a little wine or juice in the bottom of the glass, fill it up, and they would get their oxygen from the liquid without getting the contamination. So here was the key, and this was why that the wine or juice was so badly needed at that time. If you're traveling in areas where you're dubious about the water, such as Mexico, Salt Lake, various places, if you wish to mix a little juice with it, you're far better off. Pure juice. This, and while we're right on the subject, this is distilled water I'm drinking, so that there won't be any problems. Yes.
Is it detrimental to your pancreas and so forth if you drink apple juice straight, or must you dilute it 50/50?
The pancreas will say, oh, brother, it's about time you did something about it. It's one of the best foods in the world.
Must you dilute it, or must you...
No, you don't dilute it. You chew it. This is the key to all of our taking of juice. Now, in our 3-day cleanse, before we start on the mucusless diet, we recommend apple as our #1 juice. But for a person with pancreatic malfunction or spleen trouble, every mouthful should be chewed. This is the old adage of drink your solids and chew your liquids. If we do this, the saliva will neutralize the juice so that it is the same pH factor as we need for assimilation. So many times we inhale our food, just gulp it down, and no saliva gets mixed with it. We get 7 to 8% assimilation. If we can chew that juice, or whatever we're taking down, we get 40 to 45% assimilation. More so, of course, with the liquids than we will with the solids. But there's that much difference. Until the saliva is mixed with the food particles itself, the food particles will go right on through without being assimilated completely. And it takes the saliva to turn the key for the digestive juices to flow.
I have a friend that has a distiller, and she's really anxious to do the right thing with the distilled water, and she adds minerals after she distills it.
I feel sorry for her because she has missed the boat. This is just what we're using the distilled water for, is to get rid of the minerals. Yes, we've got 2 types of minerals, organic and inorganic, live and dead. Your water supply today in all cities has one big problem, as it does in the country. Whether it's spring water, well water, artesian, or coming from the city pipeline, it is hard. It is very seldom you'll ever find a zero soft water. Most all of your water is hard, but it is a dead inorganic mineral that's in that water that cannot be assimilated by vegetation. It cannot be assimilated by human beings. And this hard water is what forms kidney stones, gallstones, neuritis, bursitis, rheumatism, arthritis, glaucoma, cataracts, so forth and so on, because it is that which cannot be assimilated. Huh? Yes, we have one here. How many weeks was this?
That's about
15 or 20 gallon. This isn't fit for man or beast. This was distilled, and this is what came out of it. All water isn't that bad. Some of us were. I mean, this condition of water that is loaded with mineral, people say, well, I need that mineral. I need to drink from that deep well, or I need to drink from that hard water because I need those minerals. They need those minerals like another hole in the head, because those are minerals that cannot be assimilated. They are accepted into the body. They are accepted, but not assimilated, and consequently they lie in heavy deposits and cause side effects and after effects. And those are those things I just mentioned: kidney stones, gallstones, and so forth. Never will plant life be used successfully until it has absorbed water itself. But it has a different ability than the human body does. In Psalms 104:14, we have the answer, and I looked for it for years. And when I found it, I was very, very happy, because it gave us the answer why the inorganic and the organic mineral and their use. It says, the Lord speaking, and I do give you grass for the cattle to eat. But this next is terrific. And the herb for the service of man, that he may bring forth out of the earth food. And that's the answer. All right. We have a mother. Mama is the one who begat us, but Mother Earth is the one that made us. We